Hello, America. Welcome to the game room. This is not ASMR.
Thank goodness.
No, it certainly wouldn't be.
So, yeah.
Oh, are we starting?
Yeah, I guess we're starting.
Yeah, we're starting.
All right,
Can we like clap or some shit?
yeah.
Yeah, we don't do the clap anymore. It's over.
No, the clap is dead. Clap on, clap off. We're not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't really like getting the clap. You know, you guys. I don't know about you.
I mean, I've avoided it my entire life, so I mean, Dave, that's on you, buddy.
Hey.
True.
I'm gonna fucking murder you. I know where you live, Will.
That's okay. Anyway,
You see,
so
I now have Vicky here to
what's
threaten
up?
you with bodily violence.
That's just me on the daily.
So the 4 viewers we have may notice some changes to the podcast. First off, Vicky appears to be a regular now.
I'm highly
Welcome,
irregular.
Vicky.
All 5 of us are
Hello.
surprised by this one. Steve has been revived. That's why it took us so long. This is actually our belated Thanksgiving special, because we had to revive Steve after he drowned under his pee-flooded bed because he was so scared about Dracula coming over.
It's a
That was some
Thanksgiving
CPR I
miracle.
was not thrilled about.
Yeah, we made Tino do it.
He did come over, by the way. I didn't open the door though.
Yeah?
Yeah.
did he
and
drive-
No,
wait a
I
minute,
threw
wait a
mold- I
minute,
threw
wait a
molding
Did he
at
drive
him.
his bus from Transylvania?
I threw molding at him, and then he ran away.
Wait, hold the fuck up.
Did you turn
Hold
the light
fuck
back
up.
on?
Did you just leave that man out in the cold?
Well, I mean, I'm not responsible for him. He's a goddamn adult. He's lived for thousands of years.
So you left an old man out in the cold.
So, Steve,
That's not
He
my
has a
problem.
point.
Steve, after you threw molding at Dracula, you got to tell me, how was Memphis?
Oh, it was great. They lowered the bridge. They lit up the bridge. We had fried catfish.
Where did you have fried catfish? But as a quick aside, there was one time where at work, I sent that quote to Steve while I was getting food at a Cajun place in Reading Terminal Market, and they actually had fried catfish. And Steve's like, "How was it?" And I just replied back, "Not great."
Yeah.
Fish. I
You
mean,
didn't like getting catfished.
Well, yeah, it wasn't great.
Damn,
I
yeah.
did not enjoy being catfished at all. Was said.
Well, I guess the moral of the story here is don't meet your heroes.
Yeah. We've had some interesting times over the past month. Steve actually managed to have his Halloween party again, which unfortunately Dave and Vicky did not go to, but me, Tino, and Steve did.
Yep.
We
We're
recorded.
sorry.
It was my house.
Sorry we missed it. We were at a wedding that was long fucking overdue, but hey, we went to 3 weddings over the last month in person.
Which is always a
and
good
Will
time.
was at that same wedding.
Well, Will was. Vicky and I stayed at the Ren Fair.
Well, also because I was like, you know what? I'm gonna drive back anyway, and because Steve's house is only like 10 minutes away from mine, I'm like, screw it. Like, since I have to drive back, I didn't want to be there driving in the dark. You know, I'm like, if I'm gonna drive in the dark, I'd rather drive 10 minutes rather than 2 hours. So that was why I headed out while it was still daylight out. But
Will,
aside-
are you saying you're scared of the dark?
Yes, I very much am. Why do you think I
Okay,
keep the
I
lights on
have
when I sleep?
I have to defend Will on driving at night being a shit show. Because I've driven back at night from Pennsylvania many, many times.
Yeah,
Sorry.
those deer do not make it easy.
One
No.
Oh, you haven't driven through Centralia at 1 in the morning.
Oh, I haven't,
love
Tino.
Centralia.
I haven't.
So,
You want
What?
to you want to reassess that statement, Tino? Who's played more silent games here, you or me?
Well,
I think
who's actually
Vicky
been
might have
there?
played at least as many as I have, if not more.
Will, who's actually been there?
I've
Both
been
of us.
there.
Vicky has. Okay, so Vicky wins.
I've been there too.
Vicky explicitly went because of Silent Hill.
I went
Same.
there because of Thanksgiving. Oh, sorry. I went there because of Silent Hill on a Thanksgiving.
I went there back
because
in
that's where my
2011.
sister's college was, and I was like, "Why do you go here? It's creepy."
Yes.
I mean, you know.
So I do want to state a real fast driving at night story that I was going to tell.
Go for
It
it.
was raining lately, and because it was raining, that obscured the writing on the road that, you know, tells you which side of the lane you're supposed to be on. So I drive across, and I am shuffled, and I look over and I'm like, that's a concrete divider on my right, as opposed to my left. And I look forward and I see headlights and I go, I'm in the wrong side of the road. Thankfully, there's a bank over there. I pull off, park into a parking lot, and hyperventilate for like 20 minutes, only to see another fucking guy make the exact same mistake that I just did.
Okay, so it wasn't your problem. It was just a bad road.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
You gotta love it. So,
Yeah.
we have one question this week, guys.
One, okay.
From Natalie.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why she's asking this, because she already knows the answer to it. She hold on.
Is it rhetorical?
Is
No.
this about Barco?
No, it's not about Barco.
We drug that one up.
She writes, "Hi, honey. How was the movie?"
Of course. So, do tell us, Mr. Gustin and Mr. Wren, how hath thine eyes been blighted?
Well, hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. Let's
Well, I guess that gives it away.
So, a little background first, I think
Indeed.
would be okay. So
I'm trying to just name the segment, honestly.
that's fine. So Steve and I made plans to go see this movie. I don't remember if we invited you guys or not. I feel like we did, but it was like, honestly, if you're not a Resident Evil fan, don't go. I think that might have been the general warning we gave.
Yeah.
I mean, I was under the impression that even if I was able to go, even with like distance and schedule, I probably wouldn't have understood the plot unless I had already played all the other games.
We didn't even understand the plot.
Okay.
I think
It wasn't really that relevant, to be honest
Yeah.
with you.
I had a feeling this was going to be bad.
So
Also, I
we
think it
went-
was a Friday.
So we went on Black Friday,
Yeah.
and we went to go see this movie. I'm gonna name, before we get started, the good things about going to see this movie. Are you guys ready?
Well, I mean, I didn't have to go to work, so that's one.
Yep. I was in great company while seeing this movie. The theater was clean. The leather seats were very cushiony and reclined. The theater, I think I said the theater was clean. The snacks tasted fresh. There weren't that many people in the theater. Our seats were located in a very prime position. Our tickets were free. And there was a bar and grill right across from where the theater was. Now, notice how all the good things I said so far were not about the movie.
I knew exactly where you were going with this.
Before we launch into this ultimate destruction that we are about to witness.
Oh, but hold on. I have 4 more good things to say about the movie, actually.
Before that, I do want to say, even before COVID, they have been attempting to make the theater experience more, how do I put this?
Premium?
More premium than streaming for a long time. And it's nice to see that those changes have persisted in our post-COVID times.
Yep.
You may continue, Mr. Augustine. I look forward to this.
All right, so I'm actually going to... Steve and I are kind of in agreement on these, so how about we go back and forth? Steve, we'll each name things that were good about the movie till we run out. I'll let you go first.
Okay, so number one I want to talk about is the set designs. The set designs were actually pretty well made. They were fairly true to the original. And now, when I say original, I more so mean the remakes, because I think that's where they got most of their inspiration from. Like, for example, I think, Will, and you could probably back me up on this, some of the Resident Evil, the Spencer Mansion, you could see some of the, like, remake rooms were being shown.
Yeah.
There's that one room where, like, you see the first zombie, and then, like, you go to the left, and there's like that extra hallway with some stairs. That was in the movie.
Yep.
And I don't think I don't know if everybody caught that in the theater, at least if they were fans of the games or not. But I caught it, and I was like, that's kind of a nice touch.
Yeah.
So
that was very good.
I would hope that the set pieces were faithful to the remake, because having 64 polygon set pieces probably would have thrown people off.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Now, so hold on. I want to start a count there. That means the set designers played the game.
Yep.
Yeah, I would say so. Or at least they had enough direction from the director.
Yeah, or at least the art director did.
So,
Yeah.
I think the next good thing that I want to point out about this movie is the actor who played Richard Aiken had the best performance in that movie. For anyone who doesn't know, Richard Aiken is a member of Star's Bravo team, and the character who played him actually nailed the personality. Now, granted, he only had about like 4 minutes of total screen time, but in that 4 minutes, you could totally tell that he was true to the character. He was friendly with the rest of his Stars teammates. He joked around with them. And anyone who didn't just play the games, but also read like a lot of the backstory for Resident Evil, especially back in the 90s, knows that like a lot of the Stars members were very friendly with each other. Like they go out drinking together, they'd be friends with each other. So they, he nailed it. And I want to give him kudos. He did a great job portraying the most accurate Resident Evil character in any movie ever.
That actor did his research, which includes playing the game.
So the next thing I want to say is there were some pretty decent homages to the remakes. First example is the truck driver in Resident Evil 2 remake. There's a scene at the very beginning where the truck driver is driving along a road at night, and I think it's raining, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's raining as well.
Yeah.
And like it was like really hard to see. And he like grabs a burger off the dashboard and just takes like this big fucking greasy bite. And it's and they put that in the movie. It's actually in the movie.
Yep.
It like shot for shot. Like it's very uncanny.
It almost
Especially given RE engine skews towards realism.
Well, it looks like if you took the opening cinematic for like Resident Evil 2 remake and you just snapped your fingers and made it live action, that's what it looked like. So that was another really good thing. I'll chime in with this. The CGI they used on the liquor looked incredible.
Oh, it was fantastic.
It was probably one of the best monster designs in that movie. Along with
honest,
actually Lisa Trevor.
Yeah. When you said the liquor, my brain immediately went to literal alcohol. I'm like, why would you need CG for the alcohol?
No.
So
this liquor is much better than the one from 2002, the original Resident Evil.
So someone on the seat. So the art director probably played the game.
Mm-hmm.
So did probably someone on the CG team and someone on the storyboard team.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, if anybody is going to be a group of gamers, it would be the CG team.
And
let's be honest.
The other thing that I can point out that was good about this movie, because Steve already mentioned the set pieces, which was the third thing I wanted to bring up, but the other thing I liked about this movie, there was one scene in particular that I really like because they avoided a common trope from zombie media, which is there's a point where the zombies break into the RPD. And Leon and Claire and Chief Irons are running away from the zombies down a hallway. Now, as they're running away, the zombies are only really coming from behind them, so they're chasing them down that hallway. Now, in a lot of zombie media that I've seen, zombies, when they break through the barricade or the door or whatever, somehow they're also like on the sides of you and in front of you. They're teleporting all over the goddamn place, which makes the chase kind of crazy. Zombies. It's like, I don't get how they're getting where they're getting, but here it made sense. And there was like a logical sequence to the chase, and I like that a lot. It's not something I see in very many zombie movies, and this movie actually did it very well, and I will give them credit for that. And Steve, do you have anything else you want to credit them with?
Yeah, the rest was really, really bad.
All right, so we're getting to that part. Hold on.
Let us begin.
Hold on, not yet.
Had I seen the movie, I too would probably need alcohol.
I already had alcohol and I didn't see the movie, so
there's only soda in here, so
I don't need alcohol for this. I need to experience the pain.
It's okay.
I'll bring you to it. No,
it's okay. I can discuss this movie with sobriety.
I needed to chug that real fast because this movie just brings me pain.
Senator Augustine, you have the floor.
No, I'm going to hand it off to Senator Steve real fast. Steve, you start us off.
Okay. So, I want to first start off by saying that this was thematically a movie that tried to be a B movie, but couldn't even do that correctly, to the point where it started becoming a serious movie
Oh, no.
So they were constantly going back and forth between both styles to the point where it didn't really make sense thematically, and it did not transfer on screen well at all. Not even close.
Yeah.
I want to stop you because before you get deeper, I want to know 1, 10, or is it in the dreaded valley?
What do you mean?
On a scale of 1 to 10.
Mediocrity.
Oh,
Either it's like so bad that it's good, or it's so good that it's good, and anything in between, you're just like, eh.
Let's put it this way. It starts at the 10, as you would on a roller coaster. And it goes down that first hill to get speed, then it starts going back up, and it gets to the 1, and it smashes through the safety barrier into the negative range.
I don't know how to classify that. I'm sorry for interrupting you, Steve. Please continue.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts on this movie as a whole is it was already a bad Resident Evil movie, but it wasn't even a good regular movie. And that's what was the most disappointing thing about it. I can forgive being a bad Resident Evil movie. I see bad video game adaptations all the time. Seeing a movie fail from a movie-making perspective is especially disappointing. And I felt this failed as a film, in my opinion.
So what are the ways that it failed as a film?
Oh, can I feel this one?
To just
I'll let
film.
Will explain this one.
Oh boy. All right, hold on. This is going to be fun. All right, so Tina, what happens when you go out in the rain?
You get wet.
Right. So in one of the first scenes, Steve mentioned that the truck driver is driving in the rain, and for anyone who's played Resident Evil Remake 2, he hits a body, and they get out of the truck. Now, there's rain clearly coming down, but I noticed very quickly when Claire got out of the truck, water's not landing on her leather jacket. Her leather jacket is saying bone dry, and so is her hair, and so is the truck driver.
Mm-hmm.
They've parked under an unseen overpass?
No, because they had the moonlight coming down on them.
An unseen overpass in the woods that had no road connected to it. It was just built for reasons.
No, it was a main road, but it was like surrounded by woods.
Let this set the tone.
And overpasses?
No, Tino, just stop.
Now I'm gonna point something out real quick that a lot of people had trouble with. And this is not something that was a concern of mine, but I have to. I can't go any further without addressing a certain controversy that surrounded the movie. The actor and actress for Leon and Jill. Obviously, they don't look like their in-game counterparts. And, you know, that's not really a problem. Let's say, for example, a film studio in India made a Resident Evil movie. Mm-hmm. If it was good, I wouldn't care that none of the characters look like their in-game counterparts. That's fine. I don't mind that. But I feel as though too many people are complaining about that for the wrong reasons. People are like, oh, they don't look like their in-game No, that's not the issue. I think the director was trying to hide behind what I like to call the diversity shield. Mm-hmm. Which is, you take a character...
this is a repeat of Avatar The Last Racebender? Is that what happened?
Kinda. It's
okay.
But it's different. It's like you take a character that's, white in-game. Like Leon. I think Leon's Italian-American, if I remember that correctly.
Sure.
Yeah.
Kennedy, sure.
Kennedy, yeah, let's go for that.
No, I hold on. I'm looking this up real fast, because I'm pretty sure...
Maybe he was adopted.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe.
Yeah, if you look up on the on the Resident Evil wiki, Leon Kennedy is Italian American. I don't know why.
Why does that matter?
But no, I'm just saying.
Is he bringing the pasta to the party?
He might be. That might have been left in the Jeep that he drove to Raccoon City through the military blockade. But the reason why I'm addressing
some zombie
the change in
ziti.
race is because the actor who plays Leon, Avon Jogia, I think he was in that Nickelodeon show Victorious, but he's been trying to branch out into more serious roles. I never watched Victorious, really. I don't know Avon as an actor, so I can't really judge his acting credentials. Now, if he was given a good script and he didn't do well with it, I'd say, yeah, he shouldn't have been Leon. But if he did great with it and he had a good script, I'd say, yeah, he would have been a great Leon. You know, that's amazing. The same with Jill, except I've seen her in one of those like British shows on Netflix where like she plays a minor character in a show about someone bodyguarding like one of their senators over there. And the thing about the actress playing Jill is, for anyone who's watched Seinfeld, the Two-Face episode, there's photos of the actress who plays Jill in this new movie, where some of the photos you look at her and she's a spitting image of Jill Valentine, just, you know, with more melanin. And it's like, okay, she can nail the look. And then there's other photos of her where you look and you're like, wait, I don't see it. And again, it's not because she's like, I know she's British. I don't know if it's like African American British or whatever. I don't know.
She's black, dude. You can say black.
I don't know if black British Jill is, you know, I don't know which version of her we're gonna get. Now, here's the thing that really kind of annoyed me about them being in the film, is that, look, when you're an actor, look at what people do to take on a role. Like, look at Christian Bale. In the span of 9 months, he starved himself to be in, I think, The Machinist, and then he buffed up to be in Batman Begins. Mm-hmm. So he's gone through body changes to play roles.
He's a method actor.
Yeah.
Right?
Avon couldn't be bothered to cut his hair or shave his face.
That could have been a directorial decision, though.
Or more likely, he's like, so what are they paying me for this? Yeah, no.
Yeah, and here's the thing. The actress playing Jill had frizzy hair.
Yeah, that was weird.
And I didn't get that at all. Speaking of Jill, I forgot to mention, she's trash. But before you get offended, I don't mean like garbage. I mean she's the character Trash from Return of the Living Dead. Because literally, one of the first lines she says is, what do you think the most messed up way to die would be? For me, it would be either getting eaten by a giant shark or a giant snake. To reference, two of the bosses from the first game, which is almost a line-for-line copy of Return of the Living Dead when Trash says, what do you think the most horrible way to die would be? For me, it would be getting surrounded by old men, having them tear off my clothes and eat me alive. And it's like, Jesus Christ, like, that's a shameless ripoff. And I thought maybe it's just an homage. But then later in the film, there's a scene where, show of hands, who here has seen Return to the Living Dead?
Way long time ago. So I don't exactly remember.
Do you remember the scene where they get the torso and they tie it down to like the autopsy table so they could question it?
Just for context, is that a sequel to the George Romero film?
Sort of.
Kind of, sort of.
His partner got the rights to.
It like takes place in the same universe, or it's just the same idea.
So George Romero. So quick aside. George Romero and his partner eventually split creatively. George Romero had the rights to use Of the Dead in his movie titles. His partner got Of the Living Dead in his movie titles.
Okay.
So when his partner made Return of the Living Dead, it's a sequel to Night of the Living Dead, although it's not canon in Romero's stuff, it's canon in his own thing.
So it's an alternate fork.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a zombie movie.
Yeah.
I mean, how much more lore do you really need?
So let me.
I was just trying to understand the context, but
so let me ask this, Will.
Oh, hold on, wait, real quick. So you've seen Return of the Living Dead. You know the scene where they tie down the torso and they ask it questions in the morgue?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a scene in Birkin's lab where there's just a corpse literally bisected at the waist, and it's just laying there with its organs hanging out, tied down like in Return of the Living Dead. So that's two things they ripped off of that movie, thinking no one would notice.
Too.
Huh?
They're still alive too.
Yeah, it's still alive.
Like,
It's just like, ah.
Yeah.
So
like,
you know what this?
I was like, this is weird.
You know what this sounds like to me? This sounds like the director was like,
Is
shit.
a shithead.
Well, yes, he is, but it says like, shit, I need to make a zombie movie. Okay, here's one. Fuck. Copy the homework real fast. Change it so that it looks different.
Yeah.
This sounds like when I write fan fiction.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, that's basically what this is. By the way, Johannes Roberts, fuck you. Okay, seriously, fuck you. Let me talk about this guy for a second before we continue trashing his movie. Guy comes out, says, I'm going to make creative changes to this movie, and you just have to deal with it. And he got major backlash by the fans, right? So less than a week after that initial statement, he put out a press release. No, the movie's going to be accurate to the games. I'm working with Capcom. I swear, guys. Look. And he felt the heat. But, that's why over the past few months, I've been looking at some of the stuff for this in a lot of my Resident Evil groups. A lot of people were like, why is there no trailer yet when it was like the end of October?
Because the studio wants to write it off as a failure.
Yeah, and
Capcom got left holding the bag.
I also think that Capcom was pulled. No, the director pulled in an Aqua Teen Hunger Force, so he showed Capcom the good stuff for his movie, and then afterwards he took all the freedoms that he wanted to do, the liberties, and put in the rest of the movie. So he got Aqua Teen.
But it didn't work for him because literally Aqua Teen was an original idea, and he took an established, beloved IP. By the way, as of this moment, the budget for this movie was $25 million.
Wait, what?
The box office the box office revenue for this movie is $14.9 million. It was released in France on November 19th. It was released in America on November 24th. It was released in Germany on November 25th, and it's coming out in England on Friday.
Which means that it is actually going to make back its budget, which means that it can be a technical. You really?
I mean,
there's
kind of.
Dave,
I've got an extra $10 million to make up.
It's been released in Paris, Germany, and America, and it didn't even make $15 million?
Just
it's
Paris.
not
in America?
Just Paris.
Wait, it didn't come out in Japan?
No, it doesn't have a Japan release.
They're too embarrassed.
Because they know.
Listen to this. Keep that away.
This was and that explains, the $25 million budget explains everything. This was a turd someone created to be a tax write-off. Resident Evil was chosen at fucking random from a dartboard so that someone could run a fucking producer's style scam.
Yeah, and now it's on its fucking death march. This
movie didn't lose. This movie didn't make $14 million. It actually made $10 million, but it was before box office sales.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
but why would they do that, though?
Because they don't give a shit, and Resident Evil was the unlucky franchise that they didn't care about.
Because literally, here's the thing. Capcom probably saw that people were angry.
Capcom was taken for a ride. Who's the studio that put this out?
Hold on. Let me take a look.
It's some small studio.
Oh yeah,
really
I'm smelling a scam house. Oh boy, here we go.
Production company. Hold on.
Raccoon
Production
City.
companies: Screen Gems, Constantine Films, the Fizz Factory, which I've never heard of, and the Tea Shop and Phil Company. Distributed by Sony Pictures, releasing internationally,
of course,
and Constantine Film in Germany.
Because Sony Pictures is just like, give us. Sony Pictures takes their distribution money up front.
Yeah. So, by the way,
so they didn't care as long as there's a product to send out.
Before we talk about more of the actual content of the movie, I want to talk about some of the characters. So I mentioned Richard Aiken and how he's the most accurate character on screen, even though he has 4 minutes screen time. That's because they kept him true to his original personality. Now, every other Resident Evil character, they changed their personality. Now, Dave, how about you ask me how they changed their personality?
Are they all bastards?
No. Ed, just ask me that question.
How did they change their personality?
They gave them the exact opposite personalities that they had in the game.
Yeah.
Hey, you know how Claire was like an optimistic, slightly naive, but still street smart college student who rode motorcycles? Yeah, here she's just a conspiracy theorist who grew up in the orphanage and knew Lisa Trevor when she was like 8 years old. Hey, remember how Chris Redfield was a carefree cop who loved hanging out with his friends and drinking? Yeah, now he's a super serious guy who sees Will Birkin as his dad and simps over Jill Valentine. Hey, remember how Jill Valentine was one of those girls who could be one of the guys and go out drinking with them? Yeah, now she's like a crazy psychopath who simps over Wesker. Hey, remember how Wesker was the stoic, clean-cut captain of the Stars team? Yeah, now he's Zach Morris from Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, he's just a big wuss.
You know, Dave, I think you might be onto something with that producer's shtick.
Hey, remember Brian Irons?
The moment I heard 25, that was the scam. It is a scam.
Remember how Chief Brian Irons was like a real, like, psychopathic bastard?
Oh, he's a fucking serial killer.
Yeah, not in the movie. No, he's just the bumbling, incompetent chief of, I don't know what I'm doing, guys. Leon, you watch a thing.
Was there ever okay, I have to ask, was there a moment where they, like, opened a door and Chief was like, don't look in there?
No.
Okay.
I'll get to him in a second.
Scam. I'm all scam. Just scam.
You know how Leon was a naive Boy Scout kind of cop, but still kind of competent at his job? Yeah. Yeah, he's just the butt of all jokes in this movie.
Yeah, he's a drunk.
Yeah, and
so there's that.
He hasn't been on the force long enough to get wasted.
Dave, Annette Birkin isn't a scientist, and William and Annette Birkin are loving parents.
Yep.
That's not the point of them, though.
Oh, it's not? Really, Dave?
They're supposed to be so greedy they sell their child out.
Oh, hold on. We'll get to all of this in a sec. I'm going to walk you through the movie. I'm going to give... Guys, if you don't want to see... if you don't want to be spoiled for this movie, Tino's going to put right at the bottom of my screen, like right here, he's going to put the time code that you want to skip to avoid my ramblings about what the plot of the movie's about. And then you could skip there and just get our reactions for the end of the fucking podcast.
Or, I
don't even know all that much about Resident Evil, and this is hurting me.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, if you just want to be spoiled and save like $15, please feel free to watch this whole fucking thing.
But if you actually want to torture yourself, time code. Click it now.
Well, I'm going to stop you right now before you launch into this rant.
By all means, Dave.
I want you to look up the runtime of the movie, please.
107 minutes.
Yeah, it's short.
Oh, God, that is, 25 million, I believe that. Will, you have to do this rant in less than an hour and 27 minutes. Oh, sorry, hour and 47 minutes.
Yeah, I think I could easily do it in maybe like 5. But no, I'm gonna make this very simple. So, and before I get to this, I just want to point out a few things real fast. And I'll save that for the after I'm done spoiling the movie. So here's the thing. Claire gets into Raccoon City, breaks into her brother's house for some reason, and the two siblings hate each other, so they meet up before the mansion incident, which is the exact opposite of what happens in the games, where Claire never actually meets her brother until they reunite in Antarctica. Chris doesn't seem to like Claire, who was friends with Lisa Trevor in the orphanage for some reason, and instead just wants to go to work, where for some reason all the cops are immune to the viral outbreak that's been infecting the water supply in the town for weeks. Some random little kid gets into the house through a locked door that is never explained how he got in, and when Claire asks him, "What, do you need help?" he says, "You need help," and his mom breaks through the door that she wrote Itchy Tasty on. To reference the first game. Then she steals Chris's motorcycle to reference her driving into Raccoon City on a motorcycle because, hey, we gotta have one scene that kind of references the game, right? Meanwhile, Leon wakes up in a hotel room completely hungover with a sheet over himself, like over his head. Okay, some people pull the covers up over their head, but this doesn't make sense. Leon's laying on his back, right? and the sheet is on his head over, and it goes all the way down where when he jolts up in bed, he pulls the sheet down for I counted 20 seconds. So he must have been sitting on that sheet.
He burritoed himself.
I don't know how he did that, but he wakes up.
How big was that sheet?
Did he burrito himself lengthwise?
Lengthwise. Not widthwise. Lengthwise.
That fucking donut.
Will, we've lost your camera.
Oh,
There
no,
we
hold
go.
on. I'm coming back. I'm back. Sorry, my bad. So he does that, drinks a lukewarm beer in his room to let you know that, oh, man, he's really upset. Then you find out that while he was in the police academy, he shot his partner in the ass. I didn't even know you could get a partner when you were in the police academy.
I didn't even know you could get a loaded gun while you were in the police academy. Aside from
I didn't either, unless you were on the firing range, so he somehow really messed up, and then his dad got him transferred to Raccoon City. Oh,
Wait,
my God.
I thought the entire point was that Leon didn't have a connected-ass family.
Oh, is that what you thought, Dave? Maybe that's if you were playing the games.
Yeah, I thought that even though his name was Kennedy, it was actually a no relationship.
Yeah. Oh, no, that got thrown right out the window. So, by the way, you get to the diner, and while you're in the diner, Wesker decides to put a bottle of ketchup on Leon's head because he's sleeping.
Oh, that wacky Wesker.
Hold on, no. Let that sit there for a second. Leon is asleep at the diner, and Wesker takes a bottle of ketchup and places it on Leon's head and goes back to his booth. No. Let that sit there.
He's such a trickster.
Because he's Zach Morris from Saved by the Bell. Then he tells Jill Valentine that he bets her that she can't shoot it off. Now, if this was video game Jill Valentine, she'd be like,
why do you want
crazy.
me to open... Boss, why do you want me to open fire in a diner with my gun?
Yeah, but this Jill Valentine pulls out her Beretta in the middle of a diner. And then Wesker has to say, no, use the dark gun. Because he just happened to have one with him.
So she's going to shoot a ketchup bottle off of his head with a dart gun.
Yeah, except she shoots Wesker in the forehead with the dart gun, then throws the dart gun at the bottle of ketchup, then steals Wesker's sandwich and says, no, this is a Jill sandwich now. I bet Robert Johannes
No,
Roberts
she didn't
was really
say that.
proud of.
There's
yes.
no way she could have said that.
She said
you
that.
Know what Robert
she said that.
Johannes thought?
Steve, did she say that?
She fucking said that, really?
Yeah.
Oh
I
my
bet
God.
Johannes Roberts thought it. That was a really good reference. He was proud of that one.
No, he wasn't. You want to know what he thought? He thought my paycheck's already in here. I don't give a shit.
I'm gonna cry.
Funny line.
No, this is a guy who literally went on interviews and claimed to be a big fan of the Resident Evil franchise.
Oh, he lied. He lied to get people to go give him money.
Was she also
Barry's
the
not
master
even
of
in this movie.
unlocking?
Yeah, Barry's not in it. By the way, while we're at the diner, we learned something about STAR's Alpha Team and STAR's Bravo Team. STAR's Alpha Team consists of the following members: Wesker, Chris, Jill, Brad, and Richard Aiken, who technically is supposed to be part of Bravo Team, but whatever, that's fine.
Yeah.
Bravo Team consists of two unnamed uniformed officers, their Berettas, and their Jeep.
Yeah, they're just cops. Like, they're just, like, straight up
That-
cops.
that's Bravo Team.
Cops.
That's Bravo Team.
They're beat cops.
By the way, Alpha Team, I want to point something out here. Part of the plot of this movie is that Umbrella moved out of the town, so the town's drying up and everyone's going poor. They literally have a scene in the STAR's office where they say, Brad, why are you here? We literally had to cut, like, the helicopter out of our budget. And then 10 minutes later, they get in a helicopter to go to the Arklay Mountains.
Yeah, it's like, did they just forget about that plot?
They kind of did,
like,
yeah.
they shot it later, and they're like, oh, wait. Well, we can't retcon it now. Let's just keep going.
I repeat myself. Scam, they did not care.
Chief Irons calls everyone into the STAR's room to have a meeting. You find out that the entire police precinct outside of Bravo Team consists of Chief Irons, the STAR's team, and now Leon. He shows up in the STAR's office, and Chief Irons yells at him for being in there and tells him to go man the front desk.
Yeah, he's a receptionist at the police station.
By the way, I want to point out, because I forgot to mention this, there's a lot of Sony product placement in this. Hey!
Oh, yeah, an ungodly
Look
amount
at the
of
Sony alarm
product.
clock. Look at the Sony wall-mounted telephone. Look at Leon's Sony Walkman and headphones.
Yeah, this movie really loves to point out that this took place in the 90s, yet later in the movie, it shows Chris Redfield is wearing a smartwatch.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what?
He's wearing a Sony smartwatch.
Hey, some people cling to their old tech.
And they have smartphones, too.
I'm just trying to understand.
What?
I'm trying to understand the product placement for things that Sony doesn't sell anymore.
Well, they're trying to say, they're just trying to get the brand out.
Oh, yeah.
It's more like a brand placement.
We're Sony guys. Remember to buy our stuff.
The thing is, if I was a Sony marketing guy and I had the checklist in front of me to be like, okay, we gave them permission to use our shit. Did they do anything stupid or disrespectful? Nope, there's just a lot of it. What did we pay for this? $25 million.
Yeah.
Whatever. Whatever. It's Friday and I want to go home.
Yeah, I want to talk about the quality of the dialogue, but I'll wait for Will to finish walking us through the journey of the movie, and then I will talk about it. So go ahead, Will. Continue. I mean, we'll wait. It's fine.
Okay.
You good?
Yep.
You quenched?
So, Leon is sitting at this desk having fallen asleep again. This is the third time he's asleep in this movie, by the way. First in the hotel room.
We should follow suit.
Second in the diner. And third in the RPD. The truck from earlier crashes in front of the RPD, and the truck driver walks in as a flaming wreck to a comical song, which is very much out of place, as Steve said earlier. Leon wakes up after Chief Iron shoots the zombie dead.
Well, because he's wearing the headphones, he can't hear.
And then,
even though a fucking oil tanker blew up outside the building,
he doesn't hear that.
Well, clearly he's narcoleptic and just can't stay awake even through an explosion.
And then Leon,
but Will failed to point out that the reason why the truck driver got infected was because he had a dog with him in the truck, and the dog, when they went out to take a look at the girl that they hit, the dog jumped out of the truck and just licked up the blood for no reason at all. Not exactly what dogs would do.
Oh, Dave!
And then just gets back into the truck.
Hey, Steve.
Turn. Wait, hold on. I'm still talking.
No, but you missed something. A detail.
What?
When Jill and the driver got out of the truck, they shut and closed their doors. So the dog opened the door, got out of the truck, and licked up the blood. You may continue.
Yes, that is true. They somehow opened the door. And so anyway, some time goes by and the dog, turns into a zombie dog and then bites the truck driver.
I have any beer left in here,
man? But what's funny is he just kind of takes it. He's like, "Yo, why'd you bite me, man?" And then just continues driving.
As one does.
And the dog is like, "Well, I bit you. You're infected. I could just sit here like a good boy now." So of course, when the body is now shot and on fire, and Leon finishes putting it out with a fire extinguisher, he asks a very poignant and smart question, which is, "Hey, Chief Irons, should I call some paramedics?" Which is, again, I think a reference to Return of the Living Dead. But again, how would that help someone who's been literally entirely engulfed in fire and then shot to death?
Well, our friend here is only mostly dead.
Leon Kennedy forgot he was a cop and therefore already a first responder.
Yeah, he kind of did. So at one
somebody
point,
get a first responder.
Sometimes.
At one point, Brian Irons realizes that, hey, this city's screwed. I'm leaving. So he puts Leon in charge, and he literally pieces out in his car. But on his way out, he goes into an alley, and there's a checkpoint where umbrella soldiers are not letting people through. So he tries to back up, but then a truck comes up behind him and blocks him in. During this time, the umbrella soldiers start firing their automatic weapons at Brian Irons' car. They shoot, I want to count, at least 100 rounds. He doesn't get hit once. Right. And after being blocked in by the truck, he just backs up and leaves.
Yeah, and we think that one of the soldiers is actually Hunk, but we're not totally sure.
Well, they imply it by showing you...
It's a good assumption.
Yeah, they imply it by giving you a close-up on his helmet, and it's like, Hunk look, Hunk is an umbrella soldier, yes. And he's definitely called in to do heavy jobs, but he would not be doing perimeter security. He would be
he's special forces.
He would be going in to like take out a valuable target or retrieve the G virus. He'd be doing something like that. He would not be standing around waiting for some civilians to show up so he could shoot them.
Yeah, I was like, isn't Hunk like a Solid Snake type?
He makes Solid Snake look like, Private Pile.
Which is not hard because Snake is a goober.
Yeah. You get to the mansion. They get in after finding Bravo Team's Jeep, off of which Jill shoots a crow because, remember, she's still basically trash from Return of the Living Dead and a crazy woman. They go in. Richard Aiken dies, and Chris runs away from zombies. But that's not the part in the mansion I want to talk about. I want to talk about Wesker's big betrayal.
Before you get to this, can I throw a little bit of speculation here?
Proceed.
It feels like they did a thing that you sometimes see in video games, where someone's in the middle of remaking something, and they get a cease and desist, and they decide that rather than toss away all those years and months of work, they're just going to change a thing here and there, and hey, all of a sudden it's something else and totally not that licensed property. It feels like they were making Return of the Living Dead. When all of a sudden, a Capcom contract fell into their laps. And they already had a bunch of these resources, so why not just slap a fresh coat of Resident Evil paint on things?
Yeah, well, Will and I had a theory that they couldn't use some of the intellectual property of Resident Evil. Like, none of the music was in it at all, and having Barry not in it was kind of weird. And
Which is bizarre considering it was a Resident Evil movie. Like, why?
And Capcom allegedly gave them their full support, so what the fuck?
Like, maybe they thought that they had too many Alpha Team characters. Maybe. I mean, we already knew that Richard.
Then why not just cut Bravo Team? Why not just claim that the mansion that people just reported a disturbance at the mansion?
Oh, you know what?
They could have.
You know what?
They could have.
I'm looking at the Wikipedia here, guys. So from what I'm seeing, we were right. There are only 2 members of Bravo Team, but they have names. The one member of Bravo Team is Kevin Dooley. The other member is Enrico Marini.
Okay, well, Enrico is real.
But they never say Enrico's name in the movie. He's just kind of there with the other cop, who's like,
right.
Who? Oh, by the way, the other cop who literally says, "Hey, Leon, what's the S stand for? Stupid."
Yeah.
Yes, that's a real line from the movie.
Well, you know what? I just realized they don't show too much detail of both games.
What is this? Sorry.
They showed the police station, but only like the very like main hall / garage
and the stars
area,
room,
right? And the stars room, and then in the mansion they only show the main hallway, a couple of the side hallways, and maybe that's it. That's pretty much it.
Yeah,
they don't really show much else. Like, it's all very vague. Like, you can, like I alluded to earlier, they do show some of the they're accurate. The ones that they do show are accurate, but they don't show enough of it. It's all very surface level.
Hey, so Tino, how are we doing here on Team Scam?
This is coming across to me like what Shyamalan did to The Last Airbender.
Yeah.
Like, this sounds like that level of screw up.
No,
was this
not exact. I disagree, because at least Shyamalan was arrogant and saw his own vision over that.
Tino,
but he at least gave a shit. This sounds like they didn't give a shit at all.
What
Tino,
is this, the Dragon Ball movie?
Tino, I can make a comparison.
Closer.
The first House of the Dead movie made by Uwe Boll.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Was a more accurate adaptation.
Don't fucking make me remember that. Please
I forgot
do not.
that was even a movie.
No,
I didn't need to be reminded of that.
Why?
But Steve, tell me, is that a worse movie than Welcome to Raccoon City?
honest.
I don't know. That's a hard comparison, man.
So, Will,
I'm going to say no. It's better.
So then I'm going to just say this real quick thing in summary that maybe I should say for the end of the podcast, but fuck it. So you're saying to me is that Mortal Kombat is undefeated?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I walked out of there saying Mortal Kombat's still on top, baby.
Yeah. So
continue, Will.
So here's the thing. For anyone who doesn't remember the original Resident Evil game, Albert Wesker's actually a traitor to the STARS team. And in the games, the plot was that he was actually working for Umbrella, and his betrayal was that he was luring his friends and comrades into the mansion so that he can use them to fight the bioweapons that were in there and collect combat data, which is a horrible thing to do. You're betraying people who trust you and luring them to their deaths.
And it's for
now I understand why Wesker was there at the end of the first Resident Evil, because I did actually watch a playthrough of that, and I was like, oh, Wesker's here, and he's a bad guy. Wait, what?
And he dies!
Now it makes sense.
And he also dies!
Yeah, so
it's a video game. No one ever stays dead.
So let's talk about the betrayal in this movie. Now, guys, brace yourselves.
Wait. Did he put sugar in the salt thing?
Has been with Umbrella for is Vicky not? Is your mic not working?
No, she's bracing herself.
Oh no, you're good. It sounded like you were mouthing,
but
you weren't saying anything.
I was gonna say, wait, does Wesker put sugar in the salt thing? Is that his big betrayal?
Are you
that would have been a tank? Hold on. That would have been a bigger betrayal than what happened in the movie.
Yeah, I agree. But I wanted to say that Wesker has been with Umbrella for a long time. If you remember the Code Veronica and all that, they go into detail about that stuff.
Oh yeah,
he's been with Umbrella for much longer than the first game implies.
Yeah, no, long enough to be cloned like 6 times.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's why, I mean, he was there in like the 70s, wasn't he? Or something like that?
Yeah, well, like I said,
and then he got cloned, and then he became a mutant.
God, just put some bell bottoms on Wesker.
Yeah, like the thing is that in like Resident Evil 1, Wesker's just shown to be like, is supposed to come off as just like a corrupt cop. And then and then by like Resident Evil, I think 5, it's like, no, he like Code Veronica, it's just like, no, he's the secret Ubermensch super soldier project.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who was chosen, who basically has King Bradley's origin story from Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, you know what? I have a fun idea. Steve, don't tell them what's going to happen. Dave, Vicky, and Tino, in 3 sentences or less, summarize what you think Wesker's betrayal is going to be. Vicky, go first.
Well, I mean, I guess I can, do you want the real answer or what I actually think it is?
I want you, don't say what the real answer, just give your, what do you think his betrayal is?
Okay, so a real answer, not a joke answer. Okay.
Yeah.
So his big betrayal, Jesus Christ. It's like I know what his actual betrayal is, so it's hard for me to actually figure out what his not real betrayal will be. So I'm going to have literally no faith in this movie. And he was actually like, I don't know, he immune to the zombie stuff all along or some shit and didn't tell anyone and knew about it in advance or whatever.
So before Dave and Tino answer, I actually want to point out, you actually brought up a plot point that I glossed over. In the RPD, when they go into the basement, they meet Ben Bertolucci, who Leon gets too close to the bars and Ben grabs his gun because, remember, Leon's incompetent. That's funny, right, guys? But Bertolucci basically tells him, like, yeah, you guys are all immune to the zombie stuff because, remember, you got those special shots from Umbrella? That's literally the explanation they gave as to why the cops are immune to the zombie outbreak.
Fuck.
By the way...
Yeah, it was when they got their physical before they started their job.
By the way, when you get the first shot of that basement, there's 3 cell doors. Bertolucci's in the center, and on the right, there's a guy who's becoming a zombie. But there's no walls between those cell doors, so there's no reason.
All the same cell.
Yeah, so it's 1 cell with 3 doors.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Budget cuts?
Just have them do
movie budget cuts or Raccoon City budget cuts?
Yes! Ben Bertolucci had a handgun and did not shoot the zombie that was attacking him.
What a stand-up guy!
All right, so Vicky gave her answer for what she thinks the Wesker betrayal is. Dave, how about you go next?
God. So there's the thing I want to say, which I know they are not smart enough to have done.
Oh, just say it. Go for it, Dave.
They blow the Wesker Ubermensch load early.
Okay, Tino, do you have an idea of what?
So, as somebody who knows who knows very, very little about the overarching story of the whole Resident Evil series, I'm gonna say that it's Wesker's fault that the virus got out in the first place, but it was an accident.
Okay,
That's actually a good answer.
So, you're all wrong.
Oh, Lord.
As a point of reference, I'm going to tell you what his actual betrayal was in the games, and then I'm going to tell you what his actual betrayal was in the movie. In the games, Wesker was luring his friends and comrades into the Spencer Mansion to have them fight BOW so they could die and he could collect the combat data. In the movie, his big betrayal was that he was exposing Umbrella's secrets.
How's that a betrayal?
So that he could get money and move out of Raccoon City without telling his teammates.
So he's a paid whistleblower.
Wait.
Yeah, he wasn't going to tell Jill either.
Wait a minute.
Yeah?
Leave.
Yeah? You got questions?
But that's...
I'm about to get violent.
But that's not...
Moral of the story, being a whistleblower is
He was
bad.
contacted by an agency or some, shady guy or whatever.
Yeah, someone left a PDA in his locker, and that never got explained.
They left a PDA. Remember, 1990s. They left a PDA in his locker that gave him the maps of the mansion, the further instructions on what to do to get data to expose Umbrella, and all this stuff.
He's gonna call HR.
And enough hard drive space for 10 whole.
But why would Umbrella want this?
Three JPEGs and one MP3.
Yeah.
128 kilobits.
Now,
We're none of this 320.
Now, Dave, hold on. Before you ask that question, in the games, in order to ensure that he could get away with his betrayal, he kidnaps Jill Valentine and locks her in a holding cell under the Spencer Mansion. In the movie, a zombie comes up from behind Jill. He saves Jill from the zombie, and then he lets her go to go warn Chris, and that's how he stops her from telling people about his betrayal.
Right.
What?
But the entire point of Umbrella is that they are an unfeeling megacorporation, and one of the worst things that later games did was turn them into some psychopathic Ubermensch death cult. Like, the entire point of them was that they were this big, unfeeling bioweapons company that was literally disposing of an American town in the name of profit. Like, the entire reason that the nation accepts the mass intervention of their dissolution is because they had to nuke the town.
I mean, honestly, at this point,
we'll get to the nuking.
Oh,
of the
we'll
town.
get to that.
How are those two things mutually exclusive, though?
I mean, honestly,
What do you mean?
at this point,
Unfeeling Corporation versus.
No, because in later games they go on to establish that it's like an ancient death cult.
Guys,
So guys, hold on. Let's not get
it's
there
hard to
yet.
explain.
Wait, let Vicky talk. Go ahead.
sorry to interrupt, but I'm just gonna say, it's just a stupid little thing. But honestly, at this point, with how competent this movie is, lack of competence rather, I'm pretty sure that the only thing Umbrella's guilty of at this point is 1, having a shit HR department, and 2, making Tide Pods look edible. Okay, I don't believe that this is a real movie. This can't be a real fucking movie. Right?
Oh, really?
It's a real movie.
You guys
went in there
and dropped acid, okay?
We
I don't know what the fuck you
wanted
looked
a
at.
refund on the free tickets we had to this thing.
Yeah, our tickets are free, and I still wanted to go to the front.
You want
desk
your
like,
time?
listen.
You wanted your time back, but those 100 and how long was it? 107 minutes.
Yup.
Yeah.
Those 107 minutes are just gone.
So let me hold on. Let me walk you through the rest of it. So Will Birkin goes down, or no, Wesker goes
We're kind
down.
of glossing over some details because they go to the mansion and stuff, and they realize that there's zombies there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Brad Vickers gets killed in the helicopter while playing Snake on his Nokia.
Yeah, that's a true thing. Yeah, one of those really indestructible Nokias.
Yeah, the Nokia Ericsson. By the way, you know how Leon and Claire get to the Spencer Mansion which never happened in the games, by the way. Lisa Trevor shows up with the precinct keys, uses one of them to open a hidden wall in the thing, and sends him into the elevator, and then you never see her again.
Yep. So we assume she just dies.
Yeah.
In the the blast.
Because Claire,
I'm calling it a blast.
Because when Claire was 8, she happened to ask Lisa Trevor what her name was. So Lisa Trevor considered her a friend like 20 years later.
Yeah, she's like the when there's like a shooting at the school and you were nice to the kid that's shooting up the school and he doesn't kill you. It's like that.
Yeah.
It's that Billy Madison scene with fucking Steve Buscemi.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where he crosses the name off the list.
So anyway, let's get to near the end.
So
because...
I'm gonna skip over the anticlimactic final battle because Wesker shoots Birkin and then Birkin's wife, and Sherry runs away, and then someone shows up and shoots Birkin. Wesker. I think it was Jill. Wesker's hurt and seemingly dies. They get the G virus. Birkin injects himself, becomes a monster. Chris fights him. Tells Chris that Chris was stupid for thinking he'd ever be part of Birkin's family. They get to the train after like Claire shows up and unloads a shotgun into Birkin. They get on the train. Birkin shows up as like kind of like fourth form Birkin, where he's like the dog that jumps around thing.
Yo, what the fuck?
Leon shows up with a
Leon
shows up with a rocket launcher and says, "Yeah, it's the benefit of sitting in first class." And they're driving in this tunnel in the train when the umbrella self-destruct sequence goes off. And you know what, Steve? You were very entertained by this scene. I'll let you tell them about the destruction of Raccoon City.
Okay, so the destruction of Raccoon City and the Wesker actually gets notice of this on the PDA. He says Raccoon City is going to be destroyed at 6 a.m. 6 a.m. Right?
Mm-hmm.
6. So throughout the movie, they do like a whole like 24 show kind of thing where they show like the time and they periodically show like how much time left they have and stuff.
My favorite was when they show 1:50 and then they show a scene and then 2 a.m.
Yeah. They have really weird time frames between scenes. So it finally gets to 6 o'clock. They're on the train and they're leaving Raccoon City. And it's not a nuke, actually. They don't use a nuke. They use an earthquake. And it levels the entire city.
The fuck?
Now,
yeah,
I want
because
to
zombies
say...
would never survive
That
an
doesn't
earthquake.
kill zombies!
So...
Is Raccoon City on
What
a
is
fault
this, the
line?
core?
Well, hold on. It might. Steve, what did the earthquake do to the cow?
This is my favorite part of the movie because it's so bad. It shows like a farm, and there's just like one cow in the foreground, and the entire earth is crumbling, and there's like a big blast of wind, and it makes the cow go flying, and as it heads towards the camera, it goes moo! Like a comical like moo, something you would hear in like Diablo 2's cow level, that kind of moo. Like it's really bad. And I sat there and I just was laughing so hard. I'm like, this movie's so fucking terrible. I can't wait for this to be over.
Oh my god.
This movie, this sounds like they deliberately tried to. So here's what it sounds like to me. After everything you've told me, it sounds like they were conscious of the valley. And they were aiming, and they decided, we could aim for that 10, but we'll probably land in like the valley, a 6 at best.
Right.
But if we aim for that 1, we will hit the moon.
This movie was made for riff tracks.
Yeah, but Dave, that's literally like when you have that teacher in high school who says like, all right, guys, there's 2 ways to get a perfect score on my test. You could try to get every answer right, or you could try to get every answer wrong. Now, if you try to get every answer wrong, you're just guessing, you have a 75% chance on each question. But if you get even one answer right and the other like 24 are wrong, you're only getting a 4 out of 100.
Right.
So it's like, for Welcome to Raccoon City, it's the equivalent of if you try to aim for that 1, you better get every answer wrong, because if you don't, if you even get one answer right, you're not getting the 1. You're getting the 5 or the 6, and you're in the valley.
Yeah. And you know what? As we've been talking about this movie for the past hour or however,
I said aim. I didn't say they landed.
Right. As we've been talking about this movie for the past hour, however long we've been recording, I'm starting to realize that it got really, really close to being the so bad it's good, seal of approval.
That's the worst place to be, is to not reach that.
Yeah, it was like climbing, to get out of that, that valley. And I don't know, they lost their footing and just slid all the way back down.
They lost their...
they were so close. They were really close. Because we've had a lot of laughs talking about this movie, right?
Well, they lost their footing because the earthquake happened, and like the cow, the movie went and just flew across the screen.
So I have a question for you guys. Were you bored watching this movie?
Kinda.
No, not really. I was very engaged with the movie, and that's why I say that it got close to the so bad it's good.
I'll say this.
Yeah, go ahead.
I never checked my watch during this movie.
Yeah, and I rarely check my watch when I watch movies, because I don't like being distracted like that and having that mentality that, oh, I got another hour of this. So I tend to not check my watch anyway. But yeah, I never... I wouldn't have done it even if I was that kind of guy.
So they aimed for a 1. Maybe they got a 3.
Here's the thing. I think watching this, and I'm not the kind of guy that tries to make jokes during the movie unless I've already seen it and I'm not watching it in the theater. Or if I do make jokes in the theater, it's everyone else's too. So it's like, all right, that's the kind of movie experience we're having here. But there were a few times where, like Steve will tell you, I literally leaned over. I'm like, did he literally just say, does the S stand for stupid in Leon's name? Like, there were parts of that movie that I was so flabbergasted. I'm like, no, this can't be real.
Yeah. My biggest issue was the dialogue. The dialogue was so poorly written, in my opinion. And there's some films that you're not really sure if they're acting or not. You know what I mean? Where the dialogue feels a little too like you're talking with your friends on a Saturday night kind of dialogue.
Yeah.
It had those moments, especially between Claire and Chris. I could really feel it when Claire broke into Chris's house and he basically wrote her off as crazy. And it's like, you need to get out of my house. Get out of here. Don't fuck up my bike. Don't touch my bike. And I'm like, what kind of writing is that?
Yeah.
It was just very weird. A lot of the scenes were very jarring and very, I don't know, awkward, I guess. Just because of the way it was written and the interaction between the characters in the scene just felt strange.
Here's the thing. So we've been talking about, after reviewing... Oh, by the way, how we've just been talking about the movie after finishing up telling you what the plot was about. That was kind of like the credits. So now it's time for the post-credits.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. There's a post-credits.
Because there's a body bag that just sits up and there's someone trying to, get out of it, like Leon was with his bed sheet about an hour before this scene was filmed. And it's Wesker, and he's alive somehow. And Ada Wong shows up and gives him a pair of sunglasses and says that they'll need him to work for them in the future. So now Ada is Wesker's boss, which again is the exact opposite of how it worked in the video games.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if maybe Ada was the contact for Wesker. I don't know.
She might have been the person that planted the PDA, but they never explain it. Here's the problem. If you want to make a Resident Evil movie and you're not sticking very closely to how the characters were in the games, then when you change them, they need to be changed in an interesting way. Now, I will not defend Paul Anderson and how he changed the characters where they all became useless when Alice was around. But at least when she wasn't around, Leon Kennedy, Barry Burton, Jill Valentine, Chris Redfield, Claire Redfield, all those characters did feel like how they were in the original games. All right, here's my analogy, and it's a bad one, don't get me wrong. But for the Anderson films, imagine if the video game Resident Evil characters are a can of Coke. And you're given this can of Coke, and you're like, wow, this is great. And then for the Anderson films, it's like, oh, you're given another can of Coke. But like 90% of the Coke was taken out and replaced with water. So you're like, this is super watered down. I could kind of taste the Coke, but this is terrible, right?
Mm-hmm.
The characters in Welcome to Raccoon City would be like if someone says they're going to give you a Coke, then they hand you a can of Pepsi, and when you drink it, it's gasoline.
All right.
That's how he did his characters. It's the exact, like, he gave every character.
I would have said Sunkissed, but okay.
Oh no!
No, fuck off.
I love Sunkissed. I'm saying that
because that would imply that the characters are good.
Profiles aren't even close. Is what
that would imply that the characters are good in a way you just didn't expect.
Yeah, there's just Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
Oh fuck,
that's good.
Sweetheart.
Vicky.
You know,
you really need. Who invited her, Dave? Come on.
Wow. It wasn't actually his fault. It was actually Tino.
So
that is true.
Come on.
So here's my thing.
Steve, your internet's been borking up all night. We didn't even know if you were gonna make it.
I know.
So
it was a tough call.
It's all Steve's fault.
Call, I mean.
So I want to point something out about this movie that I've seen in a lot of my Resident Evil fan groups, which is crazy. And there are two camps with this movie, and there's the people who are attacking it for how horrible it is, and there's the people who are mindlessly defending it. And I say mindlessly for the following reason. The people who are attacking this movie are pointing out very specific flaws, most of which we've touched on tonight, others of which I didn't even notice when I watched the film, but I picked up on later. Like for example, at one point when Brian Irons gets in his car to drive away, he has a gun and bullets with him. He doesn't load the gun until he's in danger.
Oh, that is what we in firearms training call a no-no.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
So the people who are attacking this movie point out very specific problems with it. The people who are defending this movie are just saying very generic things like, oh, you're just a hater, or, oh, the guy who played Wesker was in the Umbrella Academy. It's like, look, first off, if I'm hating because I'm pointing out flaws in this movie, then yeah, I guess I am a hater. And second, I'm not going to believe that this movie's good just because the actor you're pointing out was in something else that you liked. That's not how this works. The transitive property of the Umbrella Academy does not come over to Welcome to Raccoon City and make the movie automatically good.
Those people are being contradictory for the sake of being contradictory. Their opinion doesn't matter. I will tell you this, from what you've described, let's put aside the plot holes, the shitty dialogue, and those choices right now. You described several continuity errors. You described several shooting errors. You've described the kinds of things that are film school 101.
Hell, the first mistake I pointed out wasn't even a Resident Evil thing. It was how when Claire Redfield and the trucker got out of the truck during a rainstorm, they weren't getting wet.
Yeah, because they CG'd the rain and they forgot to do the practical part. Which says to me
that they didn't want to bother messing up the costumes and hair and makeup that they
they just used too much
the
Scotch
next
Guard.
time Claire gets out of the truck and it's still raining, you then see water falling on her hair and jacket.
Literally, the dude who was supposed to spray them with water went, oh shit, sprayed them with water after they realized it and they just didn't reshoot it.
I guess. Well, was this one of those, mafia things where they, get a union job and then they don't show up, that kind of thing?
No, it sounds to me like actually the opposite, where hey, recent news, they fired all the union people and said, my friends will do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe. They'll do it for cheap.
I'm sure they will.
I felt that on a fundamental level in my soul, and I'm having PTSD flashbacks to film school when I would ask people to help me on projects because nobody wanted to, and then the lighting guy doesn't show up, and the sound guy doesn't show up, and the DP doesn't know how to use his camera, and I'm like, what is wrong with you people?
Yeah,
that's the whole vibe.
So the difference to that, is that was film school and this was a real production.
Yeah,
and
that's
Tino,
what makes it
here's
hurt.
the other thing.
It was a scam.
Yeah,
the things
it's a scam.
The things you did in film school are a million times better than this piece of garbage.
I don't know. There was that one very weird thing where, I mean, Vicky was out in the middle of nowhere wearing a green robe and things were flying around. You remember that, Vicky, right?
No, I don't.
Okay, well, maybe you've blocked it out.
Tina, we're gonna have to talk later.
By the way,
I would say that there's things I made in film school that are better than this shit.
Hold on, I wanna just read something here because I still have the Wikipedia up. This is just part of the summary of the thing. Hysterical, Ben Bertolucci steals Leon's gun, but a zombie inmate bites him before he is able to escape his cell. They don't point out that when you first see the cells, there's 3 separate doors, but it's all to one big cell. They don't have walls.
Well, that's not relevant to a freaking plot summary. That's relevant to a staging summary.
But that means it was part of a Scooby-Doo set because, you know, the zombies and the STARS team were really just supposed to run in and out of all these different doors and come out different ones down a hallway. They just shot it wrong.
Guys, it's an honor system. It's an honor system.
Man, this movie, oh my God.
Yeah, so on Letterboxd it is a 2.5 out of 5 currently.
How did they get that high of a score?
And I gave it a 1 star. I haven't reviewed it yet because I wanted to do this podcast first so I can get all my thoughts
together
and then write it.
This is a scam.
By the way, Steve, I forgot to mention, guys, we kind of fucked up the review a little bit. I forgot to mention one of the most critical blunders of this film. Hold on. If you thought the Wesker betrayal was messed up, that's going to look like an Emmy Award-winning performance by comparison.
Oh, no.
Because at one point...
I do like how they showcase this, oh no, Wesker's against Umbrella, and that's a bad thing, even though Umbrella was shown an hour ago to be shooting civilians?
Yeah. So...
Yeah, figure that one out.
Remember when I said that Claire was a conspiracy theorist who's trying to bring down Umbrella?
Yeah.
What, does she have a problem with 5G? What's going on?
At one point, they get into a basement under the Spencer Mansion. And they show like a little reel, a film reel that shows the Ashford twins.
Oh no.
And
is the film canister marked exposition?
Yeah. Now I remember. Okay. Now I remember what I wanted to say. But go ahead, finish your thought.
After you, Steve. Go for it.
I wanted to say that this movie actually ruined any possible chance for a sequel, and here's why. Mm-hmm. He was kind of alluding to it, but they brought in Code Veronica plot lines into this story. So, and the way that they altered the story in this movie, it makes it impossible for Code Veronica to happen. It makes it impossible to talk about Resident Evil 3. It makes it impossible to talk about the Outbreak games. So the only thing they can really go to is Resident Evil 4. But I even have trouble buying that because Leon's such an incompetent fuckface that there's no way you can convince me that he's competent enough to go to, the fucking jungle and save the president's daughter.
So hold on, wait a minute. I want to finish like this scene real fast because this will tell you how bad this movie was, and then I want to build off of Steve's point. So they show the footage of the Ashford twins, and they look young, and then for some reason, Will Birkin, the scientist, is like in the film with them, looking like like he's the wrangler on like an illegal pornography set. Like he's looking super creepy. And then,
but they stole the footage from the game. Like it's literally the same footage.
They just superimpose like the actor for Will Birkin in there, and then Claire finds a book that has the names of all these deceased test subjects in it, which is evidence that she could use to bring down Umbrella. And guys, I'm gonna just ask as a group, Steve? Don't answer this. What do you think her reaction is upon finding like this perfect evidence against Umbrella?
We gotta burn it!
Throws it over her shoulder like Luke Skywalker did with the lightsaber in The Last Jedi?
No, that would have actually made more sense than what she did.
Oh, no. Burned it?
She starts ripping pages out and destroying it.
What?
You know.
No, because she's upset. Forget trying to avenge all the people that Umbrella has hurt and the whole reason she came to this town. She's going to destroy the evidence that would bring them down. And by the way, Steve is absolutely right. You can't have any sequels unless you jump right to Resident Evil 7, and here's why. Raccoon City's destroyed, so there's no Outbreak things coming out of this. Resident Evil 3, you didn't introduce the Nemesis or the UBCS team like Carlos, Mikhail, or Nikolai, so they can't really come in. They don't make sense now. Resident Evil 4 can't happen because Leon was such an incompetent boob in Raccoon City. Like, if he tries to say, like, oh, yeah, I could protect the president, I was in Raccoon City, like, literally, Chris, Jill, and Claire and Sherry will be like, all you did was screw up.
Yeah, they did all the work. Leon was just kind of along for the ride.
So because now there's no Resident Evil 4, there's no sample of Las Plagas that could become Ouroboros, so now there's no Resident Evil 5 or 6.
It seems to me like if Capcom does make another pass at this, they're just going to do Resident Evil 1 or 2 again.
Yeah,
what they need to do,
they gotta Spider-Man this. Just start it all over again.
No, what they need to do is give this show like a series treatment, like how The Walking Dead got, at least initially, how Game of Thrones got, how The Witcher got. You need to give this Resident Evil does not work as a movie. There's too much to cram in. But if you do a mini series where each season covers one of the games, you can go deep with the lore. You can have characters trying to figure out puzzles. You can have characters fighting different enemies. You can have both Stars teams killed off. Yeah.
Just put it on HBO. Like it would easily translate to a TV format. Very easily.
It ain't happening anytime soon. The fucking fun story.
It can't now because look at the shit that happened.
Well, no. So fun story. Bit of backstory disclosure here. I have immediate family members who used to be employed by Home Box Office. And when AT&T bought them...
I thought you were going to say Umbrella.
Yeah. No, and when AT&T bought Time Warner and took over, the first thing they saw in HBO's line items was the cost of Game of Thrones. And they lost their shit. They went, how can you expense a production like this? This is horrific. This is inefficient in terms of the profit you're getting back. And the response back is, okay, now check what we're making in merchandise and subscription sales, which was easily offsetting this cost. And it's a reality of production. And I want to tie this back to Resident Evil and to that number you quoted at the beginning of this spiel, which was 25 million. You can make a good movie on a low budget. You can't make a fucking Resident Evil movie on $25 million. You can't make a Resident Evil game on $25 million.
Right.
I think if you had...
You kind of can.
I think if you had a talented enough writer who could maybe get around a lack of resources, you could do it, but it would have to be like an offshoot or a side story, maybe not the main thing. It seems to me like the people who were making this either didn't understand their source material or didn't care. And I'm saying this as somebody who's, kind of outside any sort of real knowledge about the lore. But it seems like they had no respect for what they were working with, which seems to just be the latest in a long epidemic of reboots or movies that are doing this to their original properties.
The first Resident Evil movie, and I had to look this up again, but we already looked at it before, was $33 million. Now, to be fair, Resident Evil, the first movie, only had 2 locations. There was the lab, and then there was the mansion. And the mansion, they were in there for like 5 minutes, and the rest was in the lab. Now, and there were only small pockets of scenes and locations within the lab. So I can see that budget actually working. I feel that Welcome to Raccoon City had too many locations. There was, outside of, the truck in the woods, which I guess is low budget, but whatever. There's Chris's house. there's the bar, there's the mansion, there's the police station, there's the lab, like the small part of the lab, and then there's the train. So there was a lot of locations, and that's just so much money to allocate all those sets. So, I don't know, it just seems like they just couldn't manage their money well enough. Like, they probably could have pulled something off a little better with that budget. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not a filmmaker, and
I'll tell you,
neither is Johannes Roberts.
I'm a movie watcher. I watch movies. I don't make them. So, you know.
Steve, you're not a filmmaker. Neither's Johannes Roberts. That's what I'm here to say.
That man collected a paycheck and he pieced the fuck out.
Yeah, man, that was a scam, man. That was some mafia shit, man.
Yeah, that was they had a zombie movie in the can and they just reskinned it to Resident Evil.
Yep.
Yeah, I suppose so.
That is hilariously disappointing. I am morbidly curious, but not enough to spend money.
So
I would see it whenever it comes out on a streaming platform.
Do you want to know
or whatever? Do
you want to know the saddest part about this whole thing is?
Yeah.
I will actually be paying to see this a second time.
Why?
Okay, well you could do that without me.
Because
even though my ticket would be free the second time we go, because I have Regal Unlimited. But
here's the thing.
Anyway.
Ray and Evan want to see this movie.
Oh boy.
I'm like, all right, if you want to see this in theaters, I will go with you, but I am not responsible for how angry you get.
Well, here's the way you get them. It's like they have to pay for however much alcohol you need to consume afterwards.
They have to pay not only for the post movie bar tab, they have to pay for the tiny bottles of whiskey you're sneaking in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should go to that. What is that movie theater that has alcohol and food and shit? What's the name of that?
Oh, AMC?
Movie Tavern?
No. What is it?
Movie Tavern?
No. What the hell is it called? The one that's.
There's a lot of theaters like that.
There are. It's a whole concept. It's dinner. It's literally a dinner and a show concept.
Yeah, there's one just like that very close to me, which I haven't been to in a while.
AMC is even doing that. Like, just your standard issue AMC movie theaters are doing that now.
Oh, is it Studio Movie Grill? Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Maybe. I don't know. But get hammered. Wait, it's Alamo Drafthouse. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that was the one that started the concept, and then it exploded from there.
That's what I was thinking of.
Even your standard major movie chains have, your standard major movie chains have a concept that does have the dinner and the show thing, including alcohol.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was the only thing that made the Rise of Skywalker bearable for me, was the fact that I could just keep ordering more beers the whole movie.
Oh. Yeah, you were lucky. I went and saw it at a standard theater.
You had to stay sober. Yeah. I'm so sorry.
I've still not seen it. I've still not seen it.
So.
Oh, we gotta fix
Rise
that.
of Skywalker.
Yeah, but that's another story for another time.
We're gonna fix that.
I haven't seen it either, but
I love you. They
break every filmmaking rule there is, Dave. I'll just tell you. I'll just say that.
As far as I'm
Vicky, you put that evil back where you found it.
By the way,
besides, that's new evil. We'll discuss that evil later. Let's finish the evil on our plate. Hey, Will.
The Resident Evil.
Yeah. What's up?
Hey, Will. So, let's say you're the hypothetical writer in a room, and you've just seen this literal burning turd.
Right.
And you get a call from Sony going, hey, that was a literal burning turd, right? And you go, yeah, it was. It's like, how would you like $300 million to create a sequel?
I would first ask them if I could use at least half the budget at my to pay for my defense at trial once I murder Johannes Roberts.
Oh, motherfucker, you're a motherfucker. We're a hyper-connected studio. We'll just disappear him for you.
No.
You're fucking unperson.
No, that's the Chinese film
I want to personally.
No, but we'll sell him to them.
Dave, I want to personally ensure his, disappearance.
Okay, listen, we got our friend Tony. He'll talk to you, okay? Don't worry about the attorneys. If it comes to that, you'll get the free use of our legal department.
Now,
We've earmarked the money for the fucking movie budget.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to take that money for the movie budget, and I'm going to make a minimum 13-episode miniseries instead. Each episode will be an hour long, and it will fully explore the first game.
Mm-hmm.
That is actually the right answer, except you're going to hate what I'm about to say to you.
Hold on, wait, and here's the rest of it. And I only intend to use as much of the budget as I need. Whatever I have left over will go back to you, and I hope you will just give me that money back if you ever renew me for a follow-up to the first miniseries.
So, the problem is, do you want to know what the budget of some Game of Thrones episode was running? It was running like 4 of the Resident Evil movie that you actually saw last week.
Was that like early on, or was that later on?
It's spread around a bit, but there were episodes that breached that easily.
Okay, so if you give me $300 million and you tell me I have to make
Now, mind you, that was because there was still period accurate shit that needed to be made. You can your movie or series can film in modern day sets, which is a great money saver.
Not to mention, I don't need to hire as many actors or actresses. I'm mostly hiring extras to play zombies. On top of that, there's a lot you could do with like budget and makeup. Like, first person I would call is Tom Savini to do like the special effects work.
You see, that's part 2 of what I want to bring up. Is it's clear that whoever made this movie, they used their money and they were like, well, we don't need to hire costumes or a hairdresser or
that was one of the weird things. Jill goes to the Spencer Mansion in a crop top with her boobs popping out. Not a police uniform like how she did in the original game.
Somehow I suspect that was not a budgetary consideration.
Yeah, I think Johannes Roberts is gonna, I think he's a pervert. In my humble opinion, I'll say that to avoid legal ramifications. By the way, speaking of this crock of garbage, here's his filmography. 2003, Hellbreeder, never heard of it. 2004, Dark Hunters, never heard of it. 2005, Farce of the Damned, never heard of it. 2010, there's a 5-year gap there, by the way. F, never heard of it. 2012, Storage 24, never heard of it. 2016, The Other Side of the Door, never heard of it.
I heard of that.
2017, 47 Meters Down, finally a film I've heard of in his, 14-year career at this point. 2018, The Strangers, Pray at Night, so he's doing the sequel to a film that was already successful in 2008. Heard of that. 2019, 47 Meters Down, Uncaged, haven't heard of that one. And 2021, Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City.
Oh yeah, no, this was a scam. This was someone at the studio.
I think I see the problem here.
This movie was born on a line of coke done off of an accountant's ledger.
Scams everywhere.
Yeah. It all adds up now. The terrible acting, the lack of actual costume design, them cream cookies you always eat. This damn scam, wasn't it? Yeah? What are you going to do about it? Eat pizza? Pizza time! Pizza time!
It's springtime for Umbrella and Raccoon City.
I'm glad we got to the bottom of this.
No, springtime for Wesker and Umbrella.
Yeah. I am glad we got to the bottom of this. It just took, 5 people in a room or a virtual room to get to the bottom of it. But, I'm glad.
5 people across 2 states.
Yeah, I want to also.
We found out it was a scam, and we can just leave it at that.
I want to also point out how much fun it was when we left the theater and immediately went to, what was that bar and grill called again?
Yard House.
Yeah, we went to the Yard House Bar and Grill, and we sat on the patio, and Steve actually ordered food. I just drank because I needed to
I wonder why.
Look, it's either because this movie was bad or because I'm an alcoholic. It's one of those 2 options, and you can't go wrong with either one.
Por qué no los dos?
I just wanted a bacon cheeseburger. That's all.
I mean, it was one of those things where we sat there and we just talked about every flaw we saw in that movie. And at one point, we actually had like, did this actually happen? Like, was this a real thing? There was a moment where I went over the things that I actually liked about the film. I came up with like 3 or 4, and I'm like, all right, Steve, come up with 3 or 4 things you liked about the movie. And he's like, Steve, what was your answer? It was something like you couldn't.
Yeah, I was like, well, you kind of listed all the ones that I was going to say.
Yeah.
So.
It was like there was nothing else. Literally, there were like 4 good things about this movie, and the rest was an utter pile of garbage, if I may use such a term.
Yeah, I mean, it was a painful watch. I mean, like I said, I wasn't bored. It was just very disappointing, and a lot of the scenes were very strange, and, you know, there were a lot of moments when I'm like, oh, God, like, really? And then the fucking really the mooing really sealed the deal for me.
That was,
I was so.
I started laughing because I saw the facial reaction on Steve, and I started laughing in the theater. I was like, I was quiet the entire time, and that was the thing that got me.
So they hired a guy who makes schlock, and he made schlock, and schlock was made.
Yeah.
How could this have happened?
Well, here's the other thing too. I don't think this would have been nearly as annoying for me if the guy didn't try to claim that he was a big Resident Evil fan, when it turns out he only really played the second remake.
Okay, you see, the marketing tour was when he did have a gun to his head because some executive at Sony came down from his coke high, saw what he authorized, and went, "You motherfucker. This is a gun. I will shoot you. I don't care if I go to jail. You're going to go out there and you're going to make sure people see this piece of shit."
Yeah, but that was the thing. Was it really marketed that well? I mean, I know because it was a video game movie, but other than that, was it really?
And by the way, your marketing budget is 2 paper clips and a dime.
Hold on, I want to look something up real fast because this is important.
I'll be honest, if you guys hadn't told me, I wouldn't have known this was coming out.
I forgot this was coming out.
Well, you know, here's an interesting thing about marketing these days. So many people use pop-up blockers and ad blockers that, like, you don't really see ads anymore for movies in general. You have to literally go to a movie site that talks about movies and upcoming films.
Yeah,
to
but
actually
even
know whenever something's coming out.
Yeah, but even then, the old hype builders still exist, and competent studios who are making products they care about, like, I don't know, maybe Disney occasionally, will fucking circulate things to be like, hey, go see our movie.
But where are they doing this? Like, what outlets are they doing it?
They're doing it in all the places you're blocking, Steve.
Yeah, that's my point. Like, am I the only one using an ad blocker? I'm sure you're all using ad blockers.
So that didn't happen with this movie. But good Lord, have you watched any Good Morning America recently? Have you watched any?
Not really. I mean, I watch Fox News in the morning, like the local Fox News, just to find out how many people have died overnight. But
what, like the Fox 43 or something, or
Fox 29?
29. I get it.
It's the
43 is the one in
Fox.
Arizona. I get them mixed up sometimes, or Texas or something.
Well, I mean, but that's the point. It's like those traditional things are like television shows, magazine interviews, the stuff that shows up on entertainment news sites. Yeah. Like, there are full press tours dedicated to shit like this.
I wasn't even watching TV when I worked for the news, so...
Shit, if I want to know if somebody's gotten shot, I just listen to the Citizen app.
Just because all of us have unplugged, I mean, good Lord, I got rid of my cable, and now I only have internet. So, doesn't mean that this ecosystem doesn't exist. The point I want to make, though, is that from what it sounds like, they sent this guy out to do 2 interviews. He said dumb shit. He corrected the dumb shit, and then they never sent him out again because they knew this was a turn.
Yeah, here's the thing. So casting began early in 2020. In February of 2020, it was already being reported in magazines and stuff that they were casting for this movie. So people knew about it at the earliest around then. The latest that they knew about this was October of last year, where it was reported that Hannah John Kaman had been cast as Jill Valentine. So
Wait a minute.
Over
Hold
a
the
year
fucking
ago.
phone. The casting was in 2020 and didn't wrap up till October 2020?
Gee, I wonder what could have happened
yeah.
to slow it down, Dave.
Well, no. When did they shoot?
They wrap the movie in October?
Yeah, no. When did they shoot this movie?
I don't know, but it says on October 6, 2020, Deadline Hollywood reported that Hannah John Kamen had been cast as Jill Valentine.
So they finished casting, and then they began, and maybe, God, because of the pandemic, Tino's right, when the fuck would they have started shooting?
Yeah.
Oh my God, was this movie shot and edited before the end of this year?
Yep.
Well,
I'm
it had
trying
to
to
have been
find
out.
shot
By the way-
before the end of this
By the
year.
way, this is a very telling thing. As far as the writing goes, Greg Russo was attached as a writer in 2017. Russo, who also was attached to as a writer to the Mortal Kombat 2021 script, drew inspiration from the 2017 video game Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, though he would later clarify that he only drew on the tones of the game, scary, isolated, alone, rather than the story himself. So there we go. He's drawing from tones, not from the story.
Keep reading, because it sounds like that script got thrown out.
Russo wanted Moonlight Sonata, a composition featured in several Resident Evil games, to feature in the opening credits. By the way, when you get to the piano scene, Jill and Wesker are in that room, and Jill, who normally plays Moonlight Sonata, does not play the piano. Instead, Wesker gets on the piano and plays Fur Elise.
Right.
Which movement of Moonlight Sonata?
No, he doesn't play Moonlight Sonata.
No.
No,
Which one
he's
was
asking
being
from the games.
Played in the games, because I didn't play them.
I honestly don't know which movement it is.
Is it the fast one?
No, hum a few bars. Hum a few bars if it will.
I'm blanking on it. Steve, you go.
I don't remember. By the way,
Okay. Classical
by the way,
music
the movie,
nerd.
by the way, the movie wrapped December 24th of 2020.
So wait.
I found that on
They
IMDb.
shot it over 3 months?
Well,
So wait,
maybe the Hollywood Reporter didn't get wind of the casting until October.
Yeah, they started filming October
Yeah.
17th of 2020.
Oh.
So they filmed only 3 months.
Oh, no.
Well, I mean, that's pretty normal. Like, they'll usually
No.
shoot over 3 or 4 months for a movie. Principal
No,
photography.
because-
that's 2 months.
Principal
Actually,
photography.
that's 2 months.
Because
That's 2 months.
Scodelario didn't get cast as Claire until October of 2020 as well.
So like
So,
she was on set before the ink was dry.
Kinda, yeah.
She
Was it
walked
that
onto
bad?
the set. They had like a mobile casting studio there. Like, oh, you're good. All right, get a costume on her and get her on set.
yeah,
By the
you
way-
look good.
but-
Get
10
in
minutes.
anyway.
By the way, this is how I know that the director is a lying sack of
Of
garbage.
course they fucking didn't reshoot things. They didn't have time to reshoot
Yeah.
them.
This is how I know that the director is a lying sack of garbage. In a statement to Deadline Hollywood, Robert said the film will be based on Resident Evil 1996 and Resident Evil 2 1998, along with, I really wanted to go back to the original first 2 games and recreate the terrifying visceral experience I had when I first played them, whilst at the same time telling a grounded human story about a dying American town that feels both relatable and relevant to today's audiences. He never played those games. I'm going to call him a liar. He never played those fucking games because the set pieces for, first off, the orphanage was not in the original Resident Evil 2. And the RPD that he used was the RPD from the remake. It wasn't the RPD from the original, because the RPD from the remake has the reception desk right in front rather than the statue in front and the reception desk behind it. So
Right.
everything came from the second, from RE2 remake, that liar.
He
and then
watched the
anything
fucking
referenced in the
LP,
first
didn't he?
game.
Oh yeah.
He just watched the
and Lisa
fucking
Trevor
LP.
is not in the originals.
Yeah, Lisa Trevor's not in the originals. So anything he took from the original Resident Evil game came from the remake of it. He's a liar, and I am so pissed that he actually got to make this film. And that he's trying to pass himself off as a what console. I want him to say, "Oh, I played Resident Evil 1 and 2, the original ones on the PS4." I want him to say that so I know he's lying, because you can't play those on the PS4.
Right.
Well, it doesn't matter if he's telling the truth or not because he's just a fucking asshole they paid to direct a movie and then go say dumb shit that he probably doesn't even care about. He probably had
scams.
Yeah, he had canned lines fed to him to go say. Literally, a marketing exec came to him and said, "You will tell these people that you fucking played these games. I don't care if you get the details wrong. Just fucking say that."
God, I hope a liquor gets into his house tonight.
Wow. Okay, is that the podcast? Are we good?
Yeah, I think that's the podcast.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah, so
maybe
sweetie.
Maybe he should
Sweetie,
make
to answer your question, that's how the movie was.
Hey, maybe he should make a Kingdom Hearts movie.
Oh no!
They already did. It's called Kingdom Hearts 1, Kingdom Hearts 2, Kingdom Hearts 3, Kingdom Hearts 3.
I don't think he could actually.
There's a lot of fucking cutscenes.
By the way, as a fun, I mentioned this very early in the podcast. There's a fun little story I want to tell real quick. This past weekend, the day after Steve and I went to see this movie, we went out. Natalie and I went out with her parents for her mom's birthday, and we were at dinner. And when I got to their house, Natalie and I were hanging out, and she's like, "Okay, vent to me about the movie now because we're not going to talk about it at dinner." I said, "Okay, fair." So I vented to her about everything I hated about it. And then we go to dinner. And we're eating dinner, and our steaks come. And her dad looks at me and says, "So, Will, how was the movie yesterday?"
Oh, no!
I went on like a 15-minute rant while as soon as he said that, Natalie goes, "Oh, you did not just ask him that." And I was going on a rant.
So,
and then I looked over and I'm like,
Natalie's
"But
parents no longer want you in their life now."
These are my future in-laws. I'm just gonna say that now. But it was funny. The mom was looking at me, like almost like, "Oh," and I'm like, "But enough about that. Happy birthday!"
Nice save, Will. Nice save.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I think on that note,
Hang on. Before we end this podcast, there are 3 very quick things that I want to say. It won't take long. First of all, I want to give a shout out to my brother-in-law and my sister, because at 7:41 this morning, the day that we are recording, I became an uncle, and I am the best uncle ever. So, yeah.
Right.
Mazel tov.
Nostrovia.
Second thing I want to say is a shameless plug. The Reading Community Theater is doing Reading Civic Theater rather is doing a production of Grease. That's going to be December 10th through 12th at the Miller Center in Reading, Pennsylvania. You can order tickets at the link that I'm going to put in the description below.
Can you also send me that link in a private message because I got to buy tickets?
Yeah, sure. And I am playing Roger, one of the T-Birds. Third thing I wanted to say is that you may have noticed that a couple of episodes of the Let's Play game series that we've started have been uploaded. Our next opportunity to record is in January, so what we've recorded so far, which was kind of like a 3.5-hour session or so, is going to be uploaded in small increments every week up until that point. That way it's not just a 3-hour video and then 2 months of silence. So yeah, those are the 3 things I wanted to say.
I'd like to give a shout out to my friend Chris Bell for encouraging me to drink before this episode. Thank you for that, Chris.
I would like to also throw up a plug myself. First, an orchestra that I sing with, the New Jersey Gamer Symphony Orchestra, is having its first in-person concert on January 22nd at a place called Passaic High School in Passaic, New Jersey. If you like music, if you like video games, please come. We'd love to see ya. Tino, there's a YouTube channel. You know it very well. If you can throw a link to that in the description, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I made about half the content on it. I know which one you're talking about.
Exactly. Thank you.
And I have one shout out as well. This goes out to Flora, my wife. You know, if my name is on a package, don't open it. It's December. Okay, thanks.
Wow. I guess on that note, wow. Jesus, I'm about to be the poison in the room then. Not a shout out, but hug your pets, people. Hug your pets.
Oh,
Indeed. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, my condolences, Will.
Thanks.
Yeah, my condolences as well.
So,
Sid's still back there. Sid's still back here.
Yeah, if
he's hanging out.
Considering what we just talked about for the past almost 2 hours, I guess what would be some more serious news. I was going to say happier news, but I can't even make that joke. So unfortunately, my little bum cat Tiger passed away. She was 16, had health problems, but I mean, she went peacefully, and you know what? She had a good long life. So.
May her memory be for blessing.
Yeah, she's crossing. Really she's crossing that rainbow bridge, and she's like as young and spry as she used to be.
I was gonna make a Rainbow Road joke. She fell off.
No!
she would just land back on it, knowing her. So as a quick story, and then we'll end the podcast. This is funny. So when we first got them, we adopted them from the SPCA. I was 15 years old. And I remember I was doing a summer Latin course at my high school, so I wouldn't have to take it like during the next school year. And this was like right when they were still new, so the cats weren't allowed in the bedrooms yet. My mom accidentally left her bedroom open, and Tiger went in under her bed. So my mom was like trying to get her out, and she goes, "Tiger!" And I'm downstairs, and I look, and I hear this little scampering, and Tiger runs down the stairs. And my mom is just following to make sure that Tiger goes downstairs. Like, she's not like trying to. Like, my mom loves these cats, but she's like, she just doesn't want them in the bedroom. She wants them to be like, okay, don't go in the bedroom. Tiger is running so fast down the stairs that she notices she's going towards the front door, and she's too light to stop herself. So she whips herself around and like puts her claws out and like scratches the couch as she does so.
Okay.
And my mom is like, oh! And Tiger, who's still freaking out, jumps up, runs across this love seat, jumps onto the couch where I'm sitting, springboards off of me. My mom is in shock at hearing the couch noises. She runs right past my mom, and she goes right back upstairs, hides under the bed again, and my mom just comes down and says, "Will, can you help me get Tiger back out from under the bed?"
So first off, Cato Drifto.
And you know what? One more funny story, because I'm going to throw both my parents under the bus here.
Oh boy.
A few months later, I came home from school, and I was just finishing using the bathroom, and I flushed the toilet, and I opened the door, and Tiger just quickly comes into the bathroom and like looks at the toilet as the water's going down. She's fascinated by it. So I'm like, all right. I'm like, the water's clear now, so I flush the toilet again, and she hops up on the toilet seat.
Oh no.
And I'm like, okay, what happens if I do this a third time? I flush a third time. She dives head first into the toilet bowl and starts trying to dig the water out. So she gets all wet. So then my dad gets home from work, and she hears him. And my dad, when he got home from work, he would just sit on the couch.
Oh no.
And just like take a breather before he went upstairs and got changed. So Tiger runs downstairs because like my dad was Tiger's human. She loved him. He was her favorite person. And not 10 seconds after she runs downstairs, all I hear from upstairs is my dad saying, Tiger, why are you all wet?" And I go downstairs, and there's my dad in his suit with Tiger like laying on his lap, covered in toilet water.
Oh gosh,
This
that's
cat
awful.
sounded more like a dog. Like I said,
She was a fun cat.
May her memory be for blessing.
Yeah. So now that I brought down the mood of this podcast, for next time, will we have a Christmas special? Tune in and find out.
Oh, God damn it. Does that mean this was the Hanukkah special?
If there are singing
Dreidel,
Wookiees, I'm leaving.
dreidel, I made it out of clay. Dreidel, with dreidel I will play. Hey!
I guess that is. Fuck, the Hanukkah special was Resident Evil.
It is because you literally all decided you were going to cruelly rob me of the Thanksgiving special, so I had to do something.
Oh, fuck you. I wanted turkey instead. With that being said...
Oh, it's Thanksgiving.
With that being said, I hope you all had a happy Thanksgiving. To those of you who celebrate, have a happy Hanukkah. And to all of you in the future, Merry-ass Christmas.
Yeah.
And anyone still waiting for Halloween, same, pull up a chair, pull up a pumpkin. It's cool, man.
You got a year to go.
Go fuck yourself.
Also, screw Kingdom
That's
Hearts.
okay.
Fuck Kingdom Hearts.
Fuck Kingdom
Yeah.
Hearts.
You know what?
I love Kingdom Hearts. Fuck Kingdom Hearts.
I'm going to defend Kingdom Hearts this week because of this movie we saw.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
The hell are you doing, Will?
Well, that is a
Kingdom
first.
Hearts is better than this movie.
That is true.
I don't know about all that.
Is that
I'm
how
go-
you
I'm go-
really feel?
That's my
You know
hot
what?
take.
I
Here's
think
my-
we need to end the podcast because we're gonna get.
That's my
I
hot
will say
take.
this.
Is that how you
There we
really
go.
feel? And don't lie to me or I'll know.
God damn it! You stole my line again, you asshole.
I was waiting
Well,
for you to
close the
get to
mic.
it.
So, I will say this. I look forward to getting to do this type of format podcast when the Metal Gear movie eventually comes out.
Oh Christ!
You mean the next game?
I'm gonna let you guys handle that
There
one.
is no such thing.
Look, Steve and I have paid our
Oh.
dues. You and Tino and Vicky could go do that one.
Yeah.
It's
Okay,
only the
I'll have
rules
to
of
play
nature.
I'll have to play the Metal Gear games then.
I have a
I
copy
hope-
of Revengeance you can borrow. Or
That's
Well,
no.
That's
He
hardly
needs.
that's hardly a Metal Gear game.
shut up.
That
it's
is
fine.
it's a fucking Strider game, sweetheart.
Well,
Anyway,
on that note, stay tuned for our Let's Play and stay tuned for the channel not ready to play. Jesus, that's my thing. For the Game Room Podcast season finale.
What?
ooh.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Night,
night.
everyone.